So plus or minus, Jill basically does roughly similar damage as Ein. This is as close as they can be right now with my setup. They have 78 elemental on my Jill, 10% attack, and my Ein has 81% elemental, 13% attack. And in terms of total attack, my Ein has 599. Yeah, and then my Ada has 603, and my Jill has 593. They're roughly all plus or minus similar in terms of attack damage. I've tested it with Mother Whale. There was a period of time where Mother Whale comes closer and I can get bonus damage at around halfway point. Tested it also on the shooting range. Basically, see, Ein and Jill are basically the same damage. These are selfish electric DPSs, so in terms of expectation how much Jill does damage, think about if you're using Ein, where would you use Jill? Really, not even Union Raid. Most of the time, the Union Raid you would use Cinderella, Summer Niece, and Winter Maiden still for electric advantage. So unless you're going for a team 2 setup, then okay, that's when Jill comes in. One example I did test where Ein Jill with Rapi and Crown and Helm as the buffer, 21.7 bill, and then I used Ada instead of Helm Treasure. Roughly similar damage difference actually. See, with Helm, Ein and Jill did 7.4, but with Ada, Ein did 7.4, Jill did 7.7, and the main difference is like Helm was buffing the others better, but Ada does 2.0 bill. So it is slightly better, and primarily just because Ada was elemental advantage also. So in that situation, because this is elemental advantage, but I replaced that instead of Ada. I used Mast, Maid Mast, and Maid Mast did the best one still here, 23.4. Now we replaced Jill with Ada instead, and we used the Mast setup. So Ein went from 8.5 bill to 10.7 bill. And the thing is, my Ada is 8.4, did 8.4 versus Jill did 7.8. And again, the difference between my Jill and Ada is like not too much off. Actually, my Ada had less elemental. I just realized that. So my Ada has less elemental. She has a little bit more attack. She was my Jill had 593 and my Ada had 603. So it's a little bit, but it's like 1%, between 1 to 2% diff. But she actually had less elemental because we're looking at 70.4% elemental on my Ada. My Jill had 78, so Jill had 8% more elemental. But even then, right, keep in mind, Ada is supposed to be a little bit of buffing and a little bit of DPS, but Ada did more damage than Jill did. A similar team, Rapi, Crown, Ein, Mast, but Jill, which is a selfish DPS, did less damage than Ada already here. So I don't know what that tells you, but yeah. And so with that setup, I broke from 23.4, I broke that, and it's 26.9, right? TLDR, Jill is about roughly similar damage as Ein, but if you have to choose between Ada and Jill, Ada seems to be coming out more on top, because not only does that Ada did more damage than Jill, she provides more to the team by buffing, you know, she buffs Rapi Red Hood as even though as B1, and she buffs Ein or whatever your secondary DPS is, secondary. And another thing is, she does have slight heal also, Ada, right? Because of the skill one. there's a slight recovery on that. Now the team combination is it's gonna be a little bit of a whack, to be fair. This upcoming solar raid, there's a lot of combinations that could possibly be combined on. We could be looking at kind of like this. I do see people trying to take advantage with Rapi Red Hood as B1, just because with Jill and Ada and Ada technically buffing the burst trees. TLDR, if you have to choose between who to invest on between Ada and Jill, I would see Ada more, because Ada is not only that you can use her as a buffer for B3 for and also like electric DPS, she is also similar damage to Jill, and on top of that she has a lot of supports that can be used also for other elements. For other elements, you would end up like using the Miranda setup with that, and possibly either with Snow White or with Mihara. It could be Snow White or Mihara, where Ada is buffing both of them basically with you know, whatever B1 B2 buffer that you guys end up having. So it could be Snow White or it could be Mihara, and you have Ada here, and then you get a cooldown reduction. It'd be likely like the healer wife or something like that for fire, and then if it's like with iron, it'll be something like this with Snow White. So that's like the Ada setup. But the Jill setup is likely gonna be really stuck on electric. Just think about it. How are you using Ayn right now? If her capabilities, just her ceiling is just similar to how Ayn is, then you're not really looking too far off. In Union Raid, we don't really use Ayn. In Missilus Tower, that's where I use Ayn more. In Solar Raid, that's the main thing. I could get the Jill usage and Ayn usage. So yeah, that's the potential that we see on Jill. It's a little bit more disappointing. I did a lot of more other testings here, just kind of show it off. I did have like something with Isabel, although this one was by Isabel was a little bit more on a different account. I would say probably Jill times 1.4 times of Jill would be like Isabel, maybe. That's assuming with you have like an Arcana, and Arcana, Isabel, Trina, Scarlet. You're looking at roughly similar. This is a 3 LA Isabel and then a 2 LA Scarlet. So I think if I have like a same LA Scarlet, it would have been the same. So like Isabel and Scarlet, basically, I have to look back at the previous video, but I believe like the Trina Scarlet and Arcana Isabel are roughly similar DPS. That's kind of like the TLDR. Right now, I think for a lot of you, a 1 copy is probably like enough. If you have some level of investments that you kind of want to do for Solar Raid, just with how we're distributing the teams, and especially for some of you that probably either one don't have like Drunk Scarlet or don't want to invest in like the combo Trina Scarlet. One thing that is someone did point out before, Trina Scarlet has a little bit of payoff because Trina and Scarlet are still used for PvP. So the Trina Scarlet is not necessarily a bad investment. The Isabel Arcana is a little bit more selfish. It's a little bit more Solar Raid focused. Some of you probably don't want to invest in Arcana Isabel, then yeah, you're gonna have to do something like this, which is the shotgun team with Maid, Bready, and like Bunny Soda and Treasure Drake. I think those are the different options that is likely gonna be used. So for those people that don't want to invest in like particular teams that we showed earlier, I don't see a bad thing about like getting a copy of Jill at least for that. But yeah, I core 7 Jill. I am likely just gonna see a lot of mainly use on her on Solar Raid Electric Advantage. Ada, I could see her. I mentioned earlier the Snow White Miranda team and the Mihara Miranda team for fire advantage and for iron advantage. So you could see some use on Ada on other elements, but for Jill, just electric specific. I think yeah, no one still beats the team one Anise Maiden. You know,